Or maybe.
Oh yeah, no, we're live. We're here.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Welcome
So,
to Arizona.
yeah, this is Arizona. I'm assured. I hope I was not lied to by the person who dropped me off here. I'm guessing I wasn't because you're here, and that would be very weird if this
Could be.
wasn't Arizona and you were still here.
Yeah, we could be in Australia. You never know. If it was real. Anyway.
I feel like my trip would have been a lot longer if I made it to Australia. Unless I went through some type of like time hole or something like that. I don't know.
Unless it's not real and it's just on a soundstage in Arizona. You never know.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Anyway, welcome to Super Serial Showtime, everyone. As always, I'm your host, Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer, who, for the first time, we are in the same building. You can't really tell because we're still at two different stations talking to our microphones. I hope we are a comfortable volume for you. I did a lot of work getting both of our gains to some level to where we could not hear each other talking, more or less. So,
Yeah. If there is any echo, just let us know who's echoing, and we a little bit. I imagine there's maybe adjustment. Have it perfect. Maybe not. Maybe it already is.
I don't believe in perfect. Just good enough. Things just have to work. That's all I care about.
I guess this. I talked to you about this free-run Starforge systems or free-run themed computer from Starforge. I guess it's fairly new. I assumed it had been available for a long time, and I was just noticing it. But there's a story as of yesterday that I guess it's a fairly new collaboration.
Yeah, I think where I first heard it was Steak and Eggs, maybe. I might have seen it on the Steak and Eggs podcast. I'm not sure. It was definitely one of the OTK streamers. I saw it on one of their programs. And it was like actually a commercial. Like they cut to commercial and it showed the whole Starforge free run thing circling around. You could see inside of it. But yeah, I haven't seen any stories about it. I guess that's kind of new.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it came out August 20th, but yeah, anime news story yesterday. Yeah, it's really cool. It does look kind of like 3D. Like I guess it's just a wrap, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, well, I think that the reason it almost looks 3D is because it's on top of glass, and then most of the insides, as traditional with computers, unless you get something of a different color, are kind of green, so it still gives like that foresty vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like I guess the side has the three main characters and a tree, and then it's just clear behind them, so it kind of looks like in front of background of graphic cards and CPUs. A graphic.
Well, we have Fizchoso's here, and so is Goodnight Spoon. Fizchoso wants to know, what is the point in bringing back children's cartoons when children don't have nostalgia? I don't see why these things have to be mutually exclusive or to each other. If something's good, you can always introduce it to children. And I mean, something should be timeless, I would assume.
I would think that the idea should be that when the original came out, the children of that time enjoyed it. So let's do a new version and make it just as good for current children, but that almost never happens. They almost always make it terrible. And then nobody likes it. Current children, past children.
Huh?
If they could recapture that magic, because just almost never works. You having a problem?
No, it's fine. No, I think the reason they don't end up recapturing that magic is because they just don't have talented people working on their shows that want to make things in the way that used to be good.
True. Well, I feel like I'm slumping down.
Maybe you just need to bring your microphone up closer to you, because if you're too far away, it won't catch you at all.
I didn't change anything, but for some reason, I just feel like I'm too high up.
I guess get used to slouching for now, unless you want to get like a bread box or something to put underneath it.
I don't know what changed. Seems weird. That is one ugly couch.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
he wanted to insult the dick whore, so.
Feel free. Yeah, I just rearranged everything. I'm kind of in the corner here, so I've got a wall which I need to decorate, but oh, hello. Weird. But yeah, I think I have a green screen. Maybe I must have it because I didn't throw it away. It's around here somewhere, so maybe we can fiddle with that. Give you whatever background you want.
I don't know. I kind of like the ugly couch background. Feels more me.
Yeah, I guess. It's actually not even mine. I borrowed it from someone. So maybe we'll get a better look.
Can we get an even uglier couch?
I suppose.
Okay.
You just drive around and see if somebody threw a couch out.
That's how we had our last couches. Though we didn't have to drive far. The couches that were in the we had like a little foyer room at the last house that I don't know, you could have used for a piano room or something, whatever, but we had some couches in there, and we just put them in there because we wanted to have couches in there. And we saw that the neighbors that were just on the end of the street threw some couches out. So in the middle of the night, me and my brother Joey picked up the couches and then walked them down the street and just took them. They're like, they're ours now. And now they're sitting in front of the old house ready for a dump truck or something to take them away. I don't know.
Why are we doing this, Cord? Why would this change anything? I mean,
well, I mean, I
else?
guess
I mean,
the
we could
reason
do it.
we're doing it through Discord is so that if we want to pull other people in here, we can still pull other people in here. Otherwise, I could have set my microphone or even your microphone up in a way to catch us wide net, and we could have just been sitting on the couch doing this. But if we still want people in, we want to be able to interact with the people, so Discord would be the way to do that.
Yeah, unless you want to switch to, call it, StreamYard or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would still end up being ultimately the same thing of us being on two different units talking to each other so that other people could come in. Either that or I'd have to get a mixing board, like a big mixer, and then we could have different headphones all hooked up into that so that we could each independently hear without having to worry about like echo and stuff like that.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Do I have no, I guess my StreamYard account is the free.
Listen, if you want us
Apparently
to
they raised the
not
price.
be on Discord and you want us to have a professional setup, what you need to do is you need to get like 100,000 people watching this show regularly, and then we'll just go and rent out an office space and actually get like a professional setup and everything. But until then, this is how you get it.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. You could reduce network strain on a single PC, and Metal's already going where I was going. Listen, I know how to set this up professionally, okay? But this is how we're doing it.
I've got plenty of bandwidth, network strain is the least of our worries at the.
No, I think the most of our worries is my PC strain, which eventually I will replace this machine. I purchased this in 2020 with the pandemic relief funds. That's how I got it. Yeah.
Oh.
And I think it was a late 2019 model, so.
Mine was I bought in 2018, but it's a desktop to begin with, and I since upgraded the memory, processor, and graphics card, and hard drive.
Well, now that I'm going to be almost assured that I'm be somewhat more stable in location, and not that I'm like hopping between places every other week, I'm thinking a desktop is probably what I'm going to do next, just because it's something that can be maintained and upgraded over time. At the time, especially during COVID, I needed a laptop because I wasn't even sure if I was going to be the same building week after week.
Did Goodnight Spoon send Rick better gear?
I'm guessing. I have no reason to doubt him.
I have a Stream Deck. Just don't know what to use it for.
Why are you talking so quietly? There is no echo. There's no echo because we're talking at this volume. I could make an echo if I wanted to talk at a higher volume.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, from now on, we're just going to be the NPR, like your national public radio of anime and video game news. Deal with it.
Are we talking more quietly? No, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have us turned up way higher than we normally are to be able to compensate for it. When you have your gain tighter, you're naturally going to come in quieter because you have to be closer to the microphone. I could be this close and still talk a lot louder. We just don't want to pick each other up.
Yeah. Oh well. We'll try not to sound too NPR-ish.
I don't know. There's like a big market for ASMR for some reason. I've never really been into it. But people like it. I don't know.
Pro mixer and mics that would suit you better than him.
Probably.
Oh, mixer, awesome mics, Stream Deck. Got it.
I would definitely know how to use it more than him and would probably actually use it more than him.
Yeah. I also have a mic right there. And I have a microphone. But anyway.
Yeah.
What are the two questions? I'm curious. Like you're I don't know. I don't get the tendency to say I have two questions. Instead of saying that, just ask the two questions. Oh, here it is. Here's one. When do I get an invite to live in your guest house? When I have a guest house, yes. Mine is 15 channels. Well, mine is 2. And I'm only using one of them.
It's probably because he has an actual mixer, or had, gave it to Rick, while you have what is called a phantom power unit, which is like a very small mixer that's built to just do the job for 1 or 2 inputs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Dark Gift recommended it, so I got it.
Well, the phantom power unit is preferred if you are just a streamer, like a single person who doesn't need a full mixing board. You just need something that is supposed to power your microphone, which for some reason you have one that doesn't work that way. It still needs external power despite being plugged in through an XLR. I was astounded when we were hooking that up, and that was the case. Usually, the whole reason you get in a phantom power unit is so that you can power your XLR microphone.
Yeah. as you can see. I thought it would too, but I plugged it in and everyone was not on. Am I invited to the house warming party? When I get a house.
Yeah. When the
Sure.
new house is done, and if you can make it in time too, you'll get the invite, but it'll still be at a very specific time and date, not too far after the house is purchased. So if it takes you too long to get here, oh well, you're out of luck.
Yeah, I would save the months of June and July of next year, because we are. Have I talked about this on stream, or is he just reading my mind, or just assuming that I'm house hunting? And
I think we vaguely talked about it a little bit when I was talking about coming here a couple streams ago,
oh,
but
okay.
nothing specific.
Well, the goal is to get a house by May, but see what the prices look. Near the Grand Canyon, probably closer than you are. What do you mean by near?
Closer than I've ever been in my life before now, so that's something.
I mean, we're in Phoenix. We're just outside of, suburb. Get it over there. Yeah, I've never been to the Grand Canyon.
I've never been to the Grand Canyon either.
Let's see.
In fact, maybe we'll go next year, because when I was talking to my brother, he plans on visiting again next year, just because he will not have seen me in a year. And we were all talking about, like, well, none of us have been to the Grand Canyon, so picking me up on the way, or maybe we can make a big trip out of it. The Grand Canyon would be a cool place to see.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we could go this year. Go whenever you want.
Well, we could.
It's actually, yeah, it's actually farther than I expected. It is. So Phoenix is a little bit kind of in the southern half of Arizona. Not quite as far south as Tucson, but the Grand Canyon's way up north.
Oh, okay. He has a question. Like, if I wanted to go to the Grand Canyon, am I booking a hotel or am I crashing at your house? Well, if you were crashing here in this area, you would still be having quite a bit of a trip to the Grand Canyon afterward. So you'd probably be getting a hotel there.
Why am I not able to? Oh, direction. Let's see. From here, Grand Canyon is 240 miles, 3.5 to 4 hours.
That's not that bad.
More than twice as far as Milwaukee to Chicago. It's like 3 times that.
I mean, it's still closer than back when I was in Dallas and I wanted to visit like half of the places in Texas. Like, if I wanted to go to what would be Texas's equivalent to the Grand Canyon, going to Big Bend National Park, I guess, right? From where I was, that's like going across the entirety of the state. That's like a 7-8 hour drive nonstop, assuming there's no traffic in the way.
Yeah. Well, according to the map, it's that far. Grand Canyon. But no, it's 240 miles. Whew.
Also,
I didn't actually realize it was that far away.
I've had this mug for like a decade now, from back when my aunt lived in the area. So I was already prepared to be in the Phoenix area. I just whipped my mug back out.
Cool. Apparently, we're not allowed to go to the Grand Canyon without Goodnight.
No, he just said before Goodnight Spoon. You could just go like a week before we go, and that's fine.
Okay. Oh, you mean he has to go first, and then we can go separately?
Yeah. It just says before me. It didn't say without me.
I see. Well, yes. So I would guess that if you wanted to, okay, yes, they're very nice hotels. Woo, very nice hotel. in Grand Canyon Village. Whoa. It got very loud very suddenly.
I don't know what got loud suddenly. It didn't get loud on my end.
Oh, music. Suddenly blasted my ears for split second.
Well, my apologies. The Fizchozo had another question about entertainment, which is fitting for the show we're on, since we are supposed to be talking about entertainment. Is episodic series dead? Or are we talking about like the concept of an episodic series where every episode is different? I don't believe it's dead at all, and I don't even know where that question would come from. There are tons of episodic series out there that are doing fairly well.
As opposed to like series that have like an arc from beginning to end, like.
Yeah, I think that's the question. Instead of something that's focused on like the season or multiple seasons being a single story arc, something where like each episode could be something different. Like a sitcom is traditionally an episodic series, or an anthology like Black Mirror is an episodic series in a way. There's tons of different ways you can be episodic. Cartoons are often episodic.
Yeah. I guess just in general, I guess regular television.
Try to point your mouth towards the microphone when you're talking.
Sorry. I can't look at anything. I'm like,
you can move your microphone. That's an option. It doesn't have to stay in one space. Like you might want to have your microphone in front of whichever screen you're going to look at the most.
Well, it is, but if I want to look at the chat, I guess I have to go like this. I need a lavalier thing coming down from the ceiling, I guess.
Oh yeah. Or maybe we'll just get you a lapel mic instead that can just sit on your collar. That way, when you turn, it's always with you.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's dead, but I guess, I mean, it does seem to be a bit out of style now, episodic series. What's wrong?
Oh, I'm just laughing at Goodnight Spoon. It's like, I'm super freaked out. You're interacting like you're not in the same room. Oh, yeah, because he's like literally just right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you can probably hear me every once in a while through Metal's mic still. I occasionally hear myself, but it's because I'm too loud or something.
Viscosa says all streaming shows are based around a 10 episodes and being ultra serialized to fit that quota. Cartoons in America for the longest time only ever allowed to be episodic comedies. I don't think it's that they were only ever allowed to be episodic comedies. I just think that was the writing fashion. Like nobody really decided to do it otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
If there was some mandate, it's nothing I've heard of. I could have missed it.
Yeah, I guess. Seems like kids shows are still episodic, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
like what's that one show that everybody likes? Bluey, that I've literally never seen an episode of, but I know it's popular. I know that that's an episodic show.
Yeah. There's like a Knuckles series. I would imagine that's going to be
Is it? I thought that was actual like serial program that was going over an arc.
Oh, is it?
Bluey has fallen off. I wouldn't know. The only thing I've ever actually seen about Bluey, other than like screenshots or memes that people have posted, was Flash Gets did one of his what's it called, Warhammer Marines versus Furries episode, where they protected the Bluey family.
Apparently, there's the Fairly Odd Parents, the little black girl now.
Yeah, Fischoso brought that up earlier, that the only exception he could think of about cartoon revivals or whatever was the Fairly Odd Parents one that was like way back earlier in the chat.
Yeah, imagine this Transformers Earthspark, probably a story arc.
Yeah.
And is this the state of kids television nowadays? I guess kids.
Well, we should say that the state of television is just awful. You know, like, I don't think it's kids television. All television's awful. In the U.S. I think there's some places in the world where television's fine. Like, we watch a lot of anime, which that's television in Japan. I've heard there's some really good French programs going on. I just haven't really watched any of them to know. But I assume the entertainment industry outside of the U.S. is still doing pretty well. I haven't heard jack shit about it being bad anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine there's more than this, but just Googling, new kids television, you get this Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures that looked awful. But I guess it's probably mostly for little. I guess Transformers Earthspark and Knuckles are, what do you call them? Preteen tweens or whatever?
Tween shows, I guess.
Yeah, and Fairly Odd Parents.
To be fair, if we're looking at, and this is the reason why live action shows on Disney Channel became like the norm instead of cartoons, and Nickelodeon and a bunch of other people started doing it too, is the target demographic for a few decades straight were preteen to teenage girls, like young teenage girls. And likely because that was the demographic that could force their parents to spend the most money on them. So you wanted to market directly at them. So you wanted teenage girls watching your TV shows. You wanted them watching your movies if possible. And teenage girls are also good at getting their boyfriends to take them to the movie theater. So it's like that's the demographic that gets people to spend money. So that's who you wanted to aim for.
Yes. Yes, but I mean,
Oh, I said it was.
Boys used to
They're
buy
not
toys.
aiming for them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The Primos, Hispanic people, and Black Ariel, and Frog and Toad. It's new.
Yeah. Well, let's say Fischoso is continuing. He's like, the thing is, can we never have a Monster of the Week live action show anymore? Those still exist. Maybe not here specifically, but they exist in other countries. They did plenty of Monster of the Week shows. And he says, Goodnight Spoon responds with Supernatural. I think Supernatural is actually the main reason why you don't see so many Monster of the Week live action shows here anymore. But they actually still happen in other genres. It's just not monsters, right? Crime scene investigation shows often function in like the same as like a Monster of the Week format.
Yeah, well, there's that show, that awful show. Was it called Evil? I think. That I tried to watch, and I watched a few episodes. Turned out dumb, but that was basically what that was.
But I agree. Supernatural was awesome when it was Monster of the Week. That's the fact that it stopped doing it is why I kind of stopped watching Supernatural.
Mhm.
The big issue is that show became even more popular when it stopped doing Monster of the Week, and almost every single show around that time and later, they start off by doing Monster of the Week to kind of like introduce you into the show, and then it becomes more like serial, more overall chapter based. Like this is just going to be the whole novel that's going on right now.
Mhm.
But that's actually not new
Yeah, but
when you think about it, because there's a lot of longer series that start off Monster of the Week and then become longer story arcs later on. It's actually a trend they probably took from anime when Supernatural started, because I can
Mhm.
name a lot of older ones that started that way and then they eventually go into longer story arcs. Um, Sailor Moon, which kind of brings it back every so often throughout the series. But Sailor Moon started off very much like Monster of the Week, and then it went into story arcs after you were introduced to everybody. And the whole Monster of the Week thing was to introduce you to the different Sailor Scouts as they were coming in. Bleach
Mhm.
did the same thing. Dragon Ball started off very Monster of the Week up until like the first tournament arc. And then, even with the Red Ribbon Army, it kind of brought it back where they're throwing different members of the Red Ribbon Army at you, but it's still ultimately to take down the Red Ribbon Army. It's just kind of a
Mhm.
trend for longer series that eventually they stop becoming Monster of the Week.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this Terminator Zero. Imagine there's going to be story arc, but I don't know. I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, I do think Fitzchozo did bring something up, and I do have an article about the Terminator story arc, so we could talk about that in a minute. But he talks about how
Oh,
the companies are all obsessed with the subscription-based streaming service, and I do think as a platform, streaming is just more catered to those longer story arcs as opposed to doing like one-off episodes, because a lot of them just drop everything on you all at once. But some of the services that do it week by week, like that awful show we were watching before, they only give us like an episode a week. I have no idea why we were watching Rings of Power, but if you do a service like that, then it would be very fitting for episodic shows, because if you
yeah.
only get that one thing each week, you don't want to rely on, say, a child remembering what happened last week. Which I think was the mentality with a lot of early cartoons, is they thought they were aiming for a 10 or younger audience, and they had very little faith that that 10 or younger audience could actually keep up with remembering what happened week after week with the gap in between.
Yeah, or they just, they just were trying to make that it's more like trying to make it a habit. A week, nothing changes in 30 minutes. Uh, Everything's exactly the way it was at the beginning. So next week, something else happened.
Oh yeah, yeah. That way your
So,
cartoon can never run away from you. That way, like even if you have to hand it to a different writer, you always get to start from the beginning. But it's also almost that like same mentality of like every comic issue is somebody's first issue. Well, if you're running a cartoon that way, then it doesn't matter when somebody jumps into the cartoon; it's still just good for them.
audio.
No, it's not that
Did
the
our
audio is
audio?
cutting out. It's just that every so often you're not talking directly into the microphone, and we end up losing
Oh,
audio.
yeah. Because I'm the only one who has the gain set up right.
Hey, my gain is really, really low. Okay.
Sorry.
Do you need to come over there and
Um,
fiddle with it for you?
no, mine's fine.
Okay. All right.
Yours is the problem.
I mean, you could probably turn yours up a little bit if you need to, but whatever.
Turn it up a little. Um, yeah. So Evil is indeed an episodic show. What about this Batman? I haven't seen any of it. Batman Cape Crusader. Is that episodic or is it overarching?
I have no
storyline.
clue. I have no plans on watching it.
Me either. You know what we did watch, though? If you wanted to talk about it.
Let's see. If this shows you, like, wait, you actually watched Rings of Power?
Cartoons had to be for children until the 90s, I guess. At least, most of them that were on, like, Saturday mornings had to.
Yeah, it wouldn't have to be for children, but I do know there was regulations saying that they had to at least be family appropriate. Because if you look at the Flintstones wasn't for children. It ran in prime time. It just had to be appropriate, like most things on TV, that the whole family had to be able to watch it.
Yeah, we tried. Did you want to talk about this real quick or something else?
Yeah, we could talk about it. I'm going to mostly just like bitch and complain about it. That's what's really going to happen because it was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, we tried to watch the. So I think it seems that there was a problem with the Amazon Prime app, I guess, on my TV, on my smart TV. I guess we sort of assumed, or I assumed that it was supposed to be like that, but I think there was a problem. So it was just way too dark, the first episode. But while I will say the second episode had a lot of darkness, it was at least visible because we used a different thing. So yeah, we watched the first episode of season 2 of Rings of Power using the Amazon Prime app on my TV. Second episode, we used the Amazon Prime app on my PlayStation 5. And yeah, the first one was, I would say, 50% completely black, 50% of the time, maybe 40% of the time. Another 40% of the time was so dark you couldn't tell what was going on, and then 20% was okay.
Yeah, more or less, I would say that's pretty much what happened. There were definitely scenes where we couldn't tell what was going on in the scene whatsoever unless like a person was there and half their face was illuminated. Even in the second one, the episode where we switched to the PlayStation, there were scenes where I'm like, if we were watching this on the other app, I wouldn't even be able to tell that there were tree roots going through the dirt behind them. But I can now, barely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wish they hadn't made the show so inherently dark, but clearly there was also something wrong with the TV. So, but that also made it very difficult to follow because although we could hear just fine, it was a little hard to tell sometimes what was happening.
Let's see.
Like, I don't know who that guy was who like sailed off at one point. I guess they gave the rings to a guy, and then all of a sudden he was in a sailboat, and then he came back. don't know. It was so.
Yeah. I was having a hard time following it, like, at all. Now, I also did not fully watch the first season, nor do I have any desire to go back and fully watch the first season.
Oh, you haven't seen the first season?
I've seen bits and pieces of the first season, probably way more than I want. I was told that season 2 was going to be better. I think so far I've been told wrong.
Who were you told by?
Obviously, the news media, okay? They saw everyone complaining, like, don't worry, season 2 is going to be better. It's like, prove it to me.
Yeah, well, they haven't proved it to me. I watched the whole first season. So far, I would say, so we've only watched 2 episodes. So far, it seems like a lot of just moving around back and forth. Sauron was in Mordor, and then they killed him, and then he was on a mountain, and then he came back to life, and then he went back to Mordor, and then suddenly he left. It's just like we're here, we're there. It's like it's all over the place. Like why did he go over there to go back and then back and then back? It's like just stay in one place and do something, will you? So confusing. Like nothing's happened. Because they made the rings at the end of last season, the elf ring, it's a 3 ring. So far in 2 episodes, all that's happened is they finally put them on. They put on rings, and I made the tree light up, and suddenly I could see that scene slightly. And for some reason, I guess the volcano at the end of season 1 took until the end of episode 2 of season 2 to finally cause Moria to have an earthquake for some reason, even though they're thousands of miles away.
Listen, all I know is at some point Sauron became Venom and then got his body back. That's all I know.
Yeah. Despite, I mean, that was kind of a cool part, but really pointless.
Yeah, visually, it was stunning, but then you're like, why? Why at all?
It's here. Yeah, I feel like I need to rewatch the first episode. I mean, I'll spare you unless you want to watch it again. But I got to watch it with a brighter screen because at the end of the season, he was headed to Moria headed to Mordor after a bunch of orcs created Mordor. I thought at his instruction, but I guess not. Because the guy who was heading up the orcs captures Sauron and kills him before he turns into Venom and eats people as a blob and then turns back into himself. So fucking confusing. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go disagree with Fizz Choza real quick. He says modern TV script stories are so thin they should have been movies. No, they should have just been thrown in the trash. I don't even watch them at an hour and a half length.
I mean, it's bad when we're 2 episodes in. I don't know what the hell Sauron's doing. I don't know what the hell the hobbits are doing. Excuse me, the Harfoots or halflings, whatever they have rights to. They're wandering around with not Gandalf, eating bugs and doing. I don't know where they're going. I don't know why. Going east, I think I heard. The elves are like, should we put the rings on? Should we not put the rings on? Okay, we'll put the rings on. Oh, the tree lit up. Okay, now what? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing next. And the dwarves are like underground waiting for an earthquake that happened a year after the presumably a few days or a day. I don't know, maybe the same day as Mordor got created. I don't know.
Yeah, and apparently they thought operatic singing was going to solve their problem, and it didn't. But I mean, I could have told them that.
Yeah, I was confused. Like, it seemed like I don't even know what. Yeah, Durin the Fourth's wife. It looked like she was singing the earthquake to happen more, but I guess that wasn't what she was trying to do. Oh. I don't. It's hard to follow when it's just bad.
I don't know if
it's hard
want
to
to understand it.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, not recommended.
Yeah. See, we've got
Maybe
some other
we'll
things regarding it. Joshua Hughes said earlier for the episodic stuff, it was also so if they wanted to air any episode out of order, they could do that. It wasn't a problem. Kirby says, Rings of Power get Mexican orcs yet? No, but if you want, you can just believe all the orcs are Mexican. I don't think that's a problem with how they're running their show.
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, it may sound disjointed. Like, I find it very difficult to like do a proper review, like explaining what happened. Like, as a here's how the story went. This and then this and this. That's not how it's being presented. It's just a bunch of people running around doing nothing. I don't really know what's
Things definitely happened. That's the most I could say about it. Things happened, but that was most of the story, was just like things happening. Like, even the dialogue, it felt like there was no tension or relevance to anything that was going on.
Yeah, like, what's his name? Elrond just seems very upset. I'm not sure why. Maybe he just had a bad donut or something. I don't, And
Yeah, he probably just hasn't pooped in long enough. He needs more fiber in his diet.
I guess. Yeah, so he seems very upset. He should probably take like something to move things along, and then I guess amazingly, I think what's her name, Galadriel seems less angry than she did in season 1. But I guess that's because she transferred all of her irrational anger to Elrond.
It all makes sense now, right? You remember in like The Hobbit when they had a meal for the dwarves and they were mad because it was like all greens? Well, it just turned out that Elrond went through a long period, like 1,000 years, where he was just having trouble pooping. So he switched all of the elves' diets to strictly greens, and that's why that happened.
Yeah, maybe this is, they were all on the carnivore diet in this era. And I don't know, got them all backed up or something. Although I don't think that's the case at the actual. I don't know.
No. What I've heard is that you only need more fiber in your diet to get past the fact that you have any fiber in your diet. If you like just eat meat, you don't really need it, and you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, maybe too much rice or something. Too much bread.
Maybe.
Not enough greens. I don't know. But anyway.
See,
the rings are on people's fingers. I guess that's something that happened.
And some of them are going to the dwarves soon.
They haven't made them yet, I don't think. But yeah.
I guess, but I mean, that looks like the direction they're going is like, well, the elves got theirs, so dwarves are up next. Let's go make them.
Which begs the question. So, like, apparently, the dwarves are in Moria. There's an earthquake, and it like closes up all of the light. I guess they have these holes where light comes through and bounces off these mirrors, and it closes all those up. And so they're going to need the rings to fix that, I guess, somehow. But was that the plan? Did they really know that would happen? And did Sauron direct the orc to make the volcano erupt? I don't know what's going on.
I would say we should consult a lore expert, but I feel like if anybody is a particular lore expert on this show, since it's not pulling almost anything from the books, they probably already have a gun up to their head ready to end it right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. It appears I am curious. Like we were talking about this the other day, that elven rings didn't seem to ever, at least fully, corrupt the elves. But did they partially? Maybe. And
I don't think so.
Yeah. So maybe it'll get interesting when the dwarven and the human rings get made. Cause problems, but I guess we'll see. Or we won't. If we don't watch anymore.
Is this not covered by culture lore? At this point, I don't even know what is covered by culture lore, but sure, we'll get to that. But Goodnight Spoon had also said for next stream, can you at least face each other so I don't think you're a couple of nut jobs? Well, here's the thing. The way this is set up, no, that is not an option. But even if it was, I think now in spite, I might even move to the other side of this table and face away from him, so then he's facing my back, so you think we're even more nut jobs than before. Because I want you to think we're nut jobs.
Then my voice will definitely come through your microphone. I think.
Oh yes, that is a problem. Ooh, what if I just sit in the dark? Like you've got these lamps here, right? Right. I'll just throw my comforter over my entire setup with one of these lamps inside to illuminate, and that'll be almost like I'm in a different room.
Well, the goal is to move into a bigger apartment, so you
Yes,
can
yes, yes.
be in a
This will
completely
be solved
different
eventually.
area.
This is a temporary setup.
Yeah. See that couch behind Metal? That's his bed, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's actually pretty comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. I slept on it 2 nights now, and I actually slept straight through. Now, part of it is the exhaustion from all the moving and not sleeping on my normal proper schedule. But honestly, I've slept through the night more comfortably in the last 2 nights than I have in years. So I can vouch for those couches.
Your bed is ugly. I know. But yeah, we're gonna temporarily move into a bigger apartment before I end up buying a house with my girl.
Listen, I'm a man who walks
wife,
around
whatever.
barefoot in a karate gi. Do you think I care if my bed is ugly?
So, yeah, life happens. We'll figure it out.
Oh, you should just... I was laughing in my own head because when you were mildly, I wouldn't say freaking out, but it's more fun to say the words freaking out. When we were walking outside earlier and I was walking barefoot on the concrete.
I was just thinking, like, it's like 105 out. Concrete's black. You can
no, I'm
literally cook an egg on it, and you're just walking around bare feet. I'm like,
I've got tough feet.
are you okay? Like, you could actually burn yourself in a few seconds, but I guess not. I guess not if you've got calluses.
Yeah, I don't think you understand how thick the padding on the bottom of my feet are from how long I've been walking around barefoot. Because it's not like I haven't walked around 105 degree, actually 110 degree day barefoot in the Texas heat before on concrete. So it's like, yeah, you get a few degrees hotter here, but I'm used to it. Actually,
Okay.
funny anecdote. One time when I was on a missions trip with my church, we were helping build a church in El Paso that also serviced people who would come over from Juarez. And we took a break and went to a public swimming pool. And, boys are stupid. Just straight up. I'm not even going to pretend I wasn't stupid. And we all decided we were going to have a contest to see who could stand barefoot on the hot El Paso concrete longest. And the person who came in third place only lasted a minute before dropping off. The person who came in second place lasted 5 minutes before dropping off. And then I decided to go for an extra half of a minute just to prove a point that they probably should have never started that contest with me in the first place.
Well, Goodnight Spoon has some questions.
But one of his questions isn't even relevant because...
I know. We have met before.
Yeah. Goodnight Spoon asks, what's it like meeting someone you've only known on the internet for the first time? You actually came through and met me at the house I was just living at on your way over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, how long ago was that now?
That was May of 2023.
23, okay. So over a year ago. That would be just before my mom passed away.
Yeah. Sounds about right. But yeah, we're just, haven't you ever heard of roommates? People have roommates.
Yeah. But is it same in person, different, more extreme? I'll have you know, I do not act much differently off the camera than I do on the camera. And I mean that on like literally any camera I've ever been on. If you watch me being insane over on my vlog channel, that's just me recording stuff I would have done if the camera was off anyway. I'm a pretty consistent guy, I would say, overall.
Mm-hmm. But what was it like when we first met? I mean, you were pretty much the same as you were online,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, and I didn't expect any different from you.
I think if I wasn't going back to work tomorrow after a long weekend, maybe we'd end up driving each other crazy. But I'm not gonna be here 8 hours a day at least. So you can just have a party or
Well, that and like when it comes to me,
you'll be
most of
working
my
too.
crazy shenanigans I like to have not at home, so it probably wouldn't be an issue here anyway. If I'm gonna go get in a fight or something with somebody, it's probably gonna be somewhere on the other side of town.
What does it say? How often are you making? I hate that stupid thing in the corner.
Ritual sacrifices to fictitious
Ritual?
characters for failing cults.
Failing.
Yeah, I know. It's such a bold statement.
What do you mean? I haven't done that in years.
I do have a ritual dagger in my toolbox though. If you want, it is a Christ Athame. We could go make a sacrifice. It's not that hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, people were thinking I was going to kill you. You're the one who came with a machete.
Yeah, and like I said, I also have an Athame in there. I've got 2 pairs of nunchucks in there too. A hatchet, a hammer. I mean, most of it's tools, so I mean, I don't know who doesn't carry a pair of nunchucks in their tool bag, but I think that's kind of standard. But yeah, I've got a claw hammer. I've got pliers, screwdrivers, all kinds of things that could be used to harm someone if I wanted.
I mean, I have a broomstick, which, as Shad will tell you, is better than nunchuck.
Oh, well, a stick in general is actually just the best weapon you can have. If it's a nice, thick, sturdy stick, you can do a lot with that.
Yeah. Stick. Definitely. So anything else? Any other news?
Let's see. Josh Ryu says, "Oh yeah, are we still supposed to be in a meme war? I forgot if I came up with a name for your team. Good night, Spoon." We'll probably hear a response to that later. But in the meantime, oh yeah, actually we were talking about this beforehand because I think you even brought it up. But Studio Trigger did announce that they are going to be working on a Transformers anime for the 40th anniversary of Transformers. And I really like Studio Trigger. I think this is probably going to be good. I don't know if I've watched anything from Studio Trigger I have not at least enjoyed the animation of.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mentioned briefly Transformers Earthspark, which is on
Oh yeah, that was the one you mentioned. Yeah.
Netflix. Is that on Netflix or something? Oh no, apparently Paramount. No, okay, I haven't seen that. It is fairly new. Whatever I saw was on Netflix. But that's up to season 2. You're talking about a new one.
This is a new one, unnamed. It was just announced, coming soon. For people who don't know Studio Trigger, they've made series like Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and Dungeon Meshi, or Delicious in Dungeon. And to me, they've always done a stellar job at like anything that they've worked on. Most of the team are former Gainax employees that they split off because Gainax was horrible and treated everyone who worked for them horribly. It's probably why they went out of business recently. It took a long time, though, decades even, but I think I will enjoy it. I'm just going to put a hunch out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so yeah, I did run across this article from May saying that Transformers Earthspark was going to end after season 2 and be replaced with a new show, and I guess that is the show.
Good, because I haven't seen Earthspark, but
Studio
at the
Trigger.
same time, I think no matter what Earthspark is, I'm going to enjoy the Studio Trigger version better.
I'm sure, yeah. It seems like it was somewhat of a surprise. So I guess whatever that other was didn't do too well. Good.
Fizz Joseph says, I stay away from anything Trigger makes. Panty stocking is the reason for that. Well, it probably doesn't come to a surprise at all that I really, really enjoy panty stocking and garter belt. It's a very fun show. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Marsupial, but it's fun.
I haven't, but I mean, I'm sure it's a Japanese show originally, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm sure the Japanese show is fine. I imagine people have problems with the American voice actors.
No. Actually, I've seen the dub of it, and I think the dub is actually really good. Maybe some of the actors, particularly, sure, whatever. Chris Sabat's in it, which despite all the drama and stuff between him, I still think he's a very competent voice actor. I very much enjoy hearing his work. But it's actually one of the better dubs at capturing what happened in it. It's a comedy. It's a very cartoon comedy with like cartoon physics and stuff. And it's a show about two fallen angels that have to hunt like ghosts slash demons to be able to earn enough heaven tokens to make their way back into heaven. Like they have to earn their repentance to be let back home. They are awful, awful angels. I don't even want to say awful people. They're kind of worse than how people would be awful. Panty is a absolute whore who will fuck anything with a cock and legs. And Stocking is so obsessed with sweets that she will like just disconsider anybody else in the world. And both of them have very foul mouths. They are mean to everyone that they ever come in contact with. They have a dog named Chuck that they abuse. That's just almost the exact opposite that you would think an angel should be, which is part of what makes it funny. I showed my dad Panty Stocking. He loved it. He doesn't even usually watch like anime or whatever, but when he watches, like, this reminds me of Ren and Stimpy. Was his reaction. So I think it's the type of show that people who just like stupid, dirty humor would very much enjoy. The angels, based on their name, will actually take the article of clothing off. So like Panty will take off her panties, and Stocking will take off her stockings, and they will turn them into weapons. Panty will even use stockings. Panties, and she turns panties into guns, and Stocking turns her stockings into swords. This is a very fun show. It only had a single season. We've been waiting forever for season 2, but it was, I think, announced in this last year that season 2 is actually on its way, and I'm excited.
It says season 2 revealed by Studio Trigger in 2022.
Yeah, it was revealed, and it still hasn't come out yet. So,
Oh, well, the first season was back in 2010.
yes, it's an old show.
Heck, wow.
Even 2022 is what I mean by recently. It was revealed. It was coming out. It was still over a decade from when the show first came out. But it's fun, and I'm excited.
Yeah, let me see here. Season 2 confirms announcements. I don't see any. Oh, will debut as in 2025. There you go.
Likely on Crunchyroll, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah. Okay. So is it anything like Panty Party on Steam?
No, it's not like Panty Party.
Okay.
Like I said, it even the way it's handled, it is more like an American, like a Western cartoon, like one for adults. It's just like the Japanese take on an adult American cartoon.
It's funny though. The difference between television and, you know, modern sensibilities from 2010 to 2025 is like night and day, right? Like,
Yeah, almost.
it's crazy how much it's changed, and it's like, are they still going to be? Are they going to do that humor and like pretend that they haven't been canceling people for that kind of humor?
Well, again, it's still going to be made by the Japanese. I think the worst problem is just going to be that maybe the American dub might be a little more heavy-handed on changing things than they were the first time around. Because remember, a lot of the people, if you even look at the cast and the director, were a lot of the same people that completely butchered Ghost Stories and turned it into a comedy show. But they wouldn't do Ghost Stories these days.
Yeah, I mean, Vic Mignogna was involved in that.
Yep. So I imagine that I probably will not be watching in English like I did the first time around. I'll probably only be watching the Japanese version. But who knows? Maybe I'll just watch it Japanese first, and then I'll watch the English later so I can have something to bitch about.
Yeah, they're gonna make, one of the girls is gonna be black. The other one will be a man pretending to be a woman. I don't know.
I don't think they'll change anything about that at all, especially since the only power they'll have is as a dub. Plus, there's already a prominent black character in the cast. There's the priest Garter Belt, who is the person Chris Sabat voiced in the English dub. Who, I mean, they were pretty raunchy with it. The priest was into boys, right? Like they were making those type of jokes, like don't leave the boy alone with the priest.
Yeah.
The real thing is, are they going to let
course.
Chris Sabat dub him again, right?
That's what I was gonna say. They're gonna let the whiter than white bread Chris Sabat do the voice of a black man. My God, he would be canceled just for doing that role.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be crazy. They do.
They'll probably do some weird thing where it'll be the guy who voiced Barrett in the Final Fantasy VII remake is just going to end up voicing Garter Belt.
Yeah. I kind of want to know if they've made any announcements about that. Not that I can see. Oh, there. See, here you go. In regards to the Paintings Talking Show, potential Garter Belt recasting. Oh my God.
I don't know. I guess we'll just put Phil Lamar in there instead.
Wow, can you believe on the Reddit, on the Anime Dubs Reddit, things that most people are saying they shouldn't recast him.
I don't think they should. You already had a voice.
I don't think so either, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be funny. That'll be funny to see what happens there. I wouldn't be surprised if he just refuses to do it.
I think that would be more the case, would be him stepping down, because that's how a lot of this has gone. But I think he should continue to do it. I think he should continue to be the voice director of the show too. Maybe by then, because we've already started to see things change, they'll have seen that the waters have been swaying in different directions, and he'll just actually go ahead and do it. I wouldn't hold my breath on it, but it'd be cool if that was the state we were in by then.
Yeah, some people in this Reddit are making points that, it goes from only black people should voice black characters, and next thing you know, it's black people should only be allowed to voice black characters.
Yeah, that's something that they almost inevitably follows the first statement when you think about it, especially you start playing into the identity thing, is you are limiting roles, which is funny because Phil Lamar, somebody I mentioned before, well, was one of those guys who very early on, to protect his own career, was like, anybody should be able to voice any role. Of course, this was, oh my god, that was a loud cough. I could hear myself through your microphone even though I'm muted. But that was obviously to protect the fact that he's played characters like Samurai Jack before. But then later on, when this other stuff came up, he was totally on the side that like only black people should play black roles. But he was even further than like, but black people could play any role because they've just had it so rough before in the industry that we just need to open up more roles for them. Which was kind of like a rules for thee but not for me situation. And a lot of people, as we've even seen, have started to get bit in the ass by that logic lately because they've been losing roles. They're like, well, you know, we have to save the black roles for you, so we can't cast you as anything else.
Goodnight Spoon asks if we ever figured out what Panty Party was all about. I mean, it was about panties shooting other... So it just came out of their crotches.
Yeah, I didn't never
Or
want to know what
bullet
Panty
thing.
Party was about. It wasn't my
First-person
curiosity.
shooter. Just a normal, average, everyday shooter. Nothing strange about it at all.
Let's see.
How do we get on that?
I have
because
no
we're talking
clue.
about we're talking about Transformers and Studio Trigger doing.
Yeah, okay, but how do you decide who voices a Transformer, okay? It's not like there's any real Transformers out there that can voice these. I feel like that's more cultural appropriation than anything else. We need to get, like, alien robots to come and voice all these alien robots. Or we could just replace everybody with AI, because AI is kind of robots, right?
I mean, this might be the only show where it's definitely appropriate to have the AI do all the voice acting.
Yeah.
You're like, are you a robot? No, I don't think so.
Well, I don't
Leave
think
the
I would
robot.
call a Transformer AI, though. They're like actual intelligence.
Okay, but are you silicon or carbon based?
Yeah.
I think we need to leave the silicon roles for the AI.
Kirby saying all black remakes, like an all black Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You know, those things actually already exist. There's an entire genre called blaxploitation films. And actually, some of my favorite horrible movies, and they are horrible, but they're enjoyable to watch, are the stuff you find on black entertainment television. Like, I saw a really, really bad movie. I think I've brought it up on this channel before, called Snake Out of Compton, which is I don't even know what it's supposed to be parodying other than the name Straight Out of Compton. But there's this like nerdy kid who was working on a science project about a snake, and he like mutated the snake and it got away from him and it bit him. And there's like these two different stories that like subplot away from each other and then come back together. The snake is like growing exceedingly larger and starting to eat people around the town, but also at the same time, the guy who got bit is slowly turning into a snake that eventually ends up as big as the other one. So then the final plot is that they want to breed and make more snakes, and they have to like kill both of them so there's not an epidemic of giant snakes that'll like take over the planet and eat all the humans. It's a really stupid movie, but it's hilarious with how stupid it is.
You'll be there for me,
Mm-hmm.
waiting at the lighthouse.
I didn't even understand that. I didn't understand half of that.
That's your average sci-fi BET movie. I don't think you're supposed to understand half of it.
Yeah, I kind of forgot what the topic was.
Good Night Spoon says, I look forward to when they decide that criminals need to be played only by real criminals. Yeah.
Yeah, Joseph said Cybertronians have souls. Well, how do you know ChatGPT doesn't have a soul?
Oh, because I can see souls, and I definitely don't see one there, so.
Have you looked at Grok?
I have not looked at Grok, so we'll see. We'll see if one's developed yet.
I could not get Grok to do something the other day. Well, again, it's one of these topics that I have no idea how we got on the subject, but I was talking with John Dillard about, I know why, because he was drawing a comic book page, and on sort of in the background there was a magazine, just incidental on the back, that, sort of in the background, that said Toast, and apparently it was a magazine about toast. That whatever one of the characters happened to have in their room. And so I was like, oh, what's that Toast magazine? He's like, I don't know, it's a periodical about toast. So I was trying to get, so I asked Grok, I was like, oh, that sounds like an interesting subject for, there's People magazine, there's Toast magazine. So I asked Grok to draw me a picture of a woman, of course it had to be a woman, eating a piece of toast. And it did. And it was quite good. And I was like, oh, guys, good job. So I asked, I think I made some slight changes. I was like, okay, have it be a brunette or something, doing the same thing. After that first one, where she was clearly biting down on a piece of toast, every other one after that, it could not generate a woman eating toast. It was so weird. And she was like, there's one where she's like holding two pieces of toast in front of her face. There's one where she would be holding it in front of her mouth. He'd be like this, but not actually biting it. It's like, no, eating, like biting down on the toast. It wouldn't do it. It's like, what the fuck? I even have, I did a tweet about it. There was a series where it was like the first one was fine. All the women were gorgeous, but they would not eat the toast. Don't know why.
Maybe they were just saving the toast for you.
I guess. It's very nice. It looked like shields. They were the toast shields in front of her face.
Like, I don't want women eating the food. I want them to make the food and then bring it to me.
Maybe Grok detected, maybe it thought that I had some sort of fetish and it just didn't want to feed into it.
A toast fetish, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying, how does it know?
It'd be like the very specific fetish about, like, they tell you you're not supposed to, like, eat toast in bed, right? And it's like, no, my fetish is like, I want the woman eating toast in bread. I want the crumbs there. We're going to have fun on the crumbs. You can't understand how niche this fetish is.
It'd be like having sand in your bed. It's like, oh, it's everywhere. No, she can eat the toast in the, over a plate, please. Somewhere else.
Cookie crumbs everywhere.
Yeah. Keep the eating on that side of the room while you're stripping. And then,
And vacuum it up later. Actually, you can continue to vacuum while stripping, show how multifaceted you are.
Yeah, vacuum it up first before we do anything.
Yeah, so you don't forget about it later when we're done, because I think you'll be so tired out, you'll completely forget to vacuum afterwards.
Yeah. And I'll be asleep, so, because Anyway.
Yeah. See, Joshua Hughes quotes me and says, I can see souls. And he says, didn't know metal had that superpower. Yes, it is on the list of superpowers I have. It's one of the earliest ones I developed, including always being exactly where I need to be when I need to be. You can't argue against that because you don't have omniscience to know if I was supposed to be somewhere else.
Yeah, I could even show you. Maybe later. Maybe I'll post them to Discord to see. Someone explain why Grok made the first image perfectly and then everyone after that couldn't do.
Probably because it had perfect reference material for the first image, and it randomly pulled it, and it just didn't for everything else.
I guess. I mean, it's not. It wasn't like for a different show, I think. But there've been other things I've been trying to, I'll try to get a picture of a crowd doing a certain thing, heading into a certain type of building. Really what I said. Yeah, do their best.
Is Metal actually Gandalf? No, I am not, but I am like a wizard in that regard. Never early, never late, just arriving precisely when I mean to. Actually, it's even worse than that. It's not when I mean to. I have no control over it. I just arrive when I'm supposed to.
Right. Well, yeah, or maybe you're like, the mages in Freerun who can detect other mages, detect mana.
No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that comes with the soul thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like that, only it's souls instead of mana.
No, the mana thing's there too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of this whole thing, and it's all one package.
Yeah.
But no great beard. I probably could grow one if I didn't have an issue where like I tend to pluck hairs out of my face. That's a whole nother thing. I don't like having hair on my face though, so like I would be a beardless wizard.
Well, yeah, it looks like the Terminator Zero and Rings of Power are the only new shows out there. Although I'm curious about this Chaos, though. Is it out?
This is what out.
No,
What?
I don't think it is. Chaos, Kaos.
I don't know. I've not heard of that.
You haven't? I mentioned it before with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, okay. You mentioned. I
Or
forgot
he's
the name
Zeus.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing Zeus, I guess.
Because they're spelling
It seems to
chaos
be implying.
similar to how they do in Greek. Yeah.
Yeah. I might have to watch this. Oh, yep. Recently added 8 episodes. It is a
Yeah, we could check that out. I know exactly what you're talking about. What you were telling me before, I just completely forgot that was the name of it.
Mm-hmm. And then, I'm more interested probably in Terminator Zero. I don't know who did this. Oh, we were looking at that before. Remember, it's like a collaboration. Japanese director and
Yeah, and apparently it's debuted to a perfect Rotten Tomatoes score, but I think that's probably from the reviewer side. I don't know what the audience side is. I'm assuming it's probably going to be a lot lower. Let's see. Oh, no, actually, it's still good. So it's 100% with critics, but only 15 reviews. But it's sitting at 90% with audience score at the time that this article was written. So I don't know. Maybe we'll check it out. Normally, one of the reasons I hate these shows is because of how off the source material they are. But I don't give a shit about Terminator at all. So I probably won't care how off it is compared to the rest of the Terminator stuff. In fact, like everything after Terminator 2 is shit anyway. So like the bar's really low.
yeah, like I hope it's off of the the source material, because the source material sucks. Except for the first 2 movies.
Oh, the new Kamen Rider started. I am very behind on Kamen Rider, but the cool thing is, if it's the start of a new leg part of the franchise, new characters, whatever, you can be behind. You can just jump straight to the new one, and it doesn't matter.
What is that? Is that an anime?
No, Kamen Rider is live action, special filming, tokusatsu. It's the Masked Rider. It's the dude. He's got like most of them. It looks like a bug mask or whatever, and he's like a cop almost, like a soldier. He transforms and henshin, which is transformation, and he goes and he fights villains in like Tokyo and stuff.
Oh. Is it episodic?
Very, very episodic.
Is it the same like continuation of the show from 1971?
So it is a series or like a franchise that continues. For the most part, yes, they all take place in the same world, I guess you could say, but there might be a generation or so apart. And it's different ideas, different themes and stuff. Yeah, cops are the first three. Is that Marsupial in your... Yes, Marsupial is there for people who came late. He's right there. But, I call them, like, cops in general. They're vigilante, but they have, like, the effect of being, like, a motorcycle cop, but a superhero. That's like the best way to describe it to somebody who's never seen it. It's like a precursor to Power Rangers.
Oh, I see. Kamen Rider Gav. Gavv. Where is that? Is it in English?
Well, there's a lot of dubs of them over the years.
But I mean, this particular new series.
It's probably not in English yet, I would assume.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be Japanese first, and I have no idea when they're going to dub it. This is only the first. Yeah, like I haven't been following Kamen Rider as closely as I followed like the Super Sentai franchise, but it does seem there's been a couple resets or whatever throughout it, where it's like this is a continuity, this is a continuity, so on and so forth. Yes, I was aware that they were created by the same guy, Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. But we probably should bring that up for other people who are possibly watching this.
Yeah, apparently episode 1 came out yesterday, but I guess it was only in Japan.
But yeah, that's exciting. Maybe I'll go check it out. I haven't watched one in a while. They're always good. They're like consistently good. I don't know if we can say the same about things that Netflix makes that they label anime. But,
yeah. Well, when is the Golden Patriot series coming out on Netflix?
probably whenever they finish enough arcs of Golden Patriot that somebody wants to pick it up, then it might happen.
Yeah.
And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that did happen, that it would be at Netflix, because Netflix does seem open enough to just like, oh, is that good? Sure, we're going to make something out of it. They don't seem to be, as a company, politically motivated. They seem to just be monetarily motivated, and sometimes the people they work with happen to be politically motivated.
Yeah. I just can't believe how many, these manga series go for, they have like 200 books out, at least. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
they pump this shit out so fast.
Oh, well, one, you have to be like at least 6 months ahead before you publish the first chapter. So you have to always be ahead. But then most of them will publish, depending on the series, anywhere between 1 to 4 times a month. But you get published in a magazine, and that's how you float it. So you're making black and white pages. You've got assistants working on you with backgrounds, and you just get it out faster. You don't have to worry about coloring. Some of them you don't even have to necessarily worry if the art's that good. I don't know how many manga that you've read. Some of them are amazing art. Like I'm not criticizing. Like One Punch Man looks amazing. You go back, Berserk always looked amazing. Even Bleach looks amazing. But it's the whole almost factory process they have to making this on how it comes out.
Corridor anime on Netflix? I don't even know.
No, I don't know what that is either.
Corridor and Netflix. What is that? I don't
But
even know.
the thing is, like, these, weekly is usually 18 to 22 pages. But not every series actually gets put out weekly. If you're like the headliner, right? So it's distributed via magazines. You have something like Jump Weekly, right? Like Shonen Jump. There's also Ultra Jump Weekly. And they will put out their magazine every week. If you're a headliner, you kind of have to be there every week for the season that you're running. So it'll be like most months of the year. Maybe the mangaka will take a break at some point in time and they'll come back next year. But then there'll be other smaller titles that get floated by the bigger titles, and they might be every other week. They might be once a month floated in. But usually they'll have like 3 big titles that are printed every single week that carry like the whole magazine.
Animation look like AI in Corridor anime. I don't know who Corridor is, but apparently they're doing videos using AI.
Is this the same like Corridor Crew that on YouTube that used to formerly be known as Corridor Digital?
Maybe?
Because I've been following them for years. I didn't know if they were making an anime or something like that. But
I see an article from February. Corridor Crew's AI-generated anime isn't just Alice and Craven, also dangerous.
oh, okay, so it is Corridor Crew. Okay, yeah, I know Corridor. They're great.
Yeah.
They've been making stuff for years. They used to. I remember they popped off back in the day at the same time that like Freddie Wong did with Rocket Jump. They used to collab a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's called Anime Rock Paper Scissors.
That's funny. Okay, so that's what he was talking about before. When Goodnight Spoon mentioned that. I think
Yeah, I guess.
I think I remember that they actually made a like short, like a YouTube video way back in the day about that subject. Like how there are basically manga or anime about like everything, right? Like especially the sports ones, and they can make all of it seem exciting. So like what if they made one about rock, paper, scissors?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess Corridor Crew 1 year ago. Did we just change animation forever? Okay. I don't know who these people.
Oh, they're a great channel. I still watch them from time to time.
They have so many videos, it's like I can't find. There it is. Okay. Here it is. Is this AI art or is this something new? I don't know. Then to watch after the show, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something to do. Which, I mean, it's about that time anyway. It is, I guess, different time for us now than it used to be, or different time for me. It's always been the same time for you because you've been here, but it's 7:34.
Yeah.
I think we decided for everybody out there, since I really just don't want to change the clock that I have set on the loading screens. We're still going to be using Central Time for the schedule or anything, and we'll just adjust for ourselves the different time of year, whether it's like, was it 2 or 1 hour difference, given whether it's daylight saving or not. I kind of like the fact that we don't have to adjust our clocks here, though. That's something I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
I hate daylight savings.
Yeah, but I mean, we could just keep the show at the same time.
Oh,
but
no, that's
then
what I'm
it'll
saying,
just
yeah.
be an hour later for us.
Yeah, I was saying we will personally just adjust, but the show, I'm just going to keep the clock at Central because it's easy. It's right in the middle of the country, you know. I think it hits the most people the best. It puts Pacific as far away from the furthest side of Canada, so you know that's fine. If we ever get anybody from the furthest side of Canada that wants to watch the show.
If everyone else falls back, then this would be that would make it earlier for us. I don't know.
Listen, if we
might
need
have
to
to move the
bump
time.
the show back an hour, that's perfectly fine. I don't care. That's up to you. Everyone else can suffer. It doesn't matter. That's it for the show.
Does daylight saving. First Sunday of November. We don't have to decide for 2 more.
Yeah, we can figure out that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the show. If you really like it, please share it out with other people. Get more people in here. I see that there's quite a few people in here right now. If you guys could come earlier, or actually, you know what? Everybody comes in at this time anyway. It might be in our best interest to bump the show back an hour, and then maybe we'll actually get people in here when we're talking. But if you really like the show, please consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live. And we'll see you guys on Thursday when we will be at this again. Same time, same place.
See ya.